Uh, Good morning. It's morning. It's not afternoon yet. Uh, it's Friday. Let me get this adjusted a little bit. Well, I like it. Hard to do. Okay, yeah, it's still Friday morning yet, and I wanted to address some things. Uh, I wanted to, my last video, I talked a little bit about what was going on over in the Middle East, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about that today. Now, I know there are many people that don't care, but there are people that do care. And I just wanted to give my take on this, and I hope I can explain this. I wanted to basically give my reference point to what's going on in the Middle East and how it may or may not work with Bible prophecy. Okay, first I want to say that I don't necessarily condone war. I don't like war. Who likes war? Nobody likes war. I think it'd be great if all the fighter weapons and all the bombs and all that, we didn't even have them. But due to the greed, due to the lust and the power-hungry, warmongering people in this world, we have that. But anyway, I wanted to get at why is this going on over there? Okay, first of all, I want to get into the eschatology of Islam and compare it to the eschatology of Christianity. Now, do we follow Islamic eschatology? Not necessarily, because to me it is reversal of Christian eschatology. Now, if we take can people be Muslims? Should we not love Muslims? I'm not saying that. If a person chooses to be that and they desire to be peaceful, I don't have a problem. I feel they're misled. But the radical movement is definitely bad. Now, let's get into how did Islam start? From my small understanding, Muhammad saw the angel Gabriel, and he told him a bunch of stuff, which became the Quran. What does Galatians say about if an angel tell you a different gospel? Well, that's what happened. In my perspective as a Christian, that's what happened. Okay? And a different gospel come out. Islam became formed. Now, the reason what's going on with this war and why we need to be concerned so much about what's going on is the country of Iran, which comes from Persia, they are formed, they're Shia Muslims. They believe to take over the world. That is their desire. However they can. So they believe that the Mahdi, I may be pronouncing it wrong. They believe in the coming of a Mahdi, and Jesus, which is their form of Jesus, is coming back, and they want that to come back. But they believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they will come back in chaos. So they do not mind creating chaos. Okay? In their mindset, they don't care if they kill, slaughter people. At the same time, they believe that once the men, that when they die in this, they will get 72 virgins as reward. So they don't care if they kill and slaughter. They want the entire world to become Muslim by force if necessary. And to be able to take it by force, they would need the weaponry to do that. Okay? So that is their makeup. So, as far as us, the president said he didn't want to get us in a new war. Well, I really don't think he has a choice. You either can go there now and try to dismantle them so that they can't inflict their chaos upon the world, or you let them continue so they are powerful enough to bring their chaos on the world. Either way is a no-win scenario. It's going to happen one way or another. What do you do? Now, as I said in my last video, one of my thoughts are, could it be possible that Iran gets totally leveled out, their Sharia law government, style of government gets totally leveled out, and that they end up rising down the road with the Antichrist kingdom, that they are one of the 7 heads, and it is wounded unto death and gets risen again. That is the thought that I have. I cannot prove it. I don't know. Or else maybe we're just in another Middle Eastern war and it'll pass and the end will come several years down the road. I don't know, and who does know? Now here's a thought. Just a thought. This is me talking, okay? What if? Now we have Muslim nations over there who are somewhat in support of us, okay? What if that Iran does have some nuclear material or has something and would be able to detonate some type of bomb within their own country and then blame Israel? What would be the repercussions of that? Think about that. That could really change the dynamics of everything. That could really put the world against Israel. That could really put the world against us. That would really put the world against our leader, which could very well bring our leader down, which could very well bring in another leader in the next election who would support Muslims, which would support the Antichrist. That's just a thought, just a scenario. But again, something's got to happen to form the Antichrist kingdom that what I said in my last video, I believe comes from the geographic area of the 7 heads from the 7 empires that oppressed Israel. And I say it again, Assyria, Egypt, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome. Within that area. Now, as we are seeing in Europe and in our country, Islam is on the rise. They come in peacefully. Like I say, if a person wants to follow Muslim and they are peaceful and do not want to force Sharia law on people and want to live peaceably with you, what can I say? But that is not where it's heading. I do believe the Antichrist will come, and if you read the book of Daniel, it looks like he comes out of one of the old Grecian Empire in that area, which that area is pretty primarily Muslim. Some people say he has to be Jewish, or he could be Jewish, nor for Israel to accept him. I don't find anywhere in the Bible where it says they have to accept him. I even question 927 about the treaty. We will find out. Okay? But again, what they believe in their eschatology is there will be a Mahdi. There will be a Jesus, which to me I believe will be what we call the false prophet. The Mahdi be a savior of theirs, which we believe is the Antichrist, and they believe what's called the Dajjal will come on a white horse, which they believe is a Christian leader to save them, which be defeated, which we would say is Jesus coming on a white horse, not a donkey. So, there's a reversal in that. But again, is this a short-term type thing? Maybe Iran is totally leveled out and totally powerless. But as Europe grows, they're slowly going away from us. The Muslim community is growing larger and larger, and they are getting people in places of power there. Same as what's happening in the United States, they're having much influence. Now, at the same time, there is the agenda, which I've talked about before, the Muslim Brotherhood Agenda, 1991, I believe, Muslim Brotherhood Agenda, which they talk about taking over the United States from within. They start out peaceably, but then the time comes, they may raise arms. That's what we can fear, or I don't want to say fear, that's what we can be aware of as far as sleeper cells. Could they arise now? They could, but I got a feeling things will be more disruptive before that happens so that they can arise and make it easier on them, and that's where the United States could fall into a chaos. But again, I don't believe that would happen until after we deny Israel. We have to support Israel. We have to. And again, our president, whether you like him or whether you don't, what do you do? Should you? Who do you support? Do you support Making America Great, or do you support Death to America? They are raised over there saying death to Israel, death to America. They wanted nuclear weapons. It was formed to be a revolution. They wanted to spread it to other countries. What do? Do we allow that to spread, or do we try to contain it? Eventually, we're not going to be able to stop it. And is that because we stopped trying, or we can't do anything about it, that we're taken out down the road? Already we have a divide in our country. We are divided in our country. We have people who would rather support the Antichrist kingdom and death to America than support America. They may not say it outright, but in their actions, that's what they were doing. Again, and people are against this fighting, which, what do? Do you just allow it to continue? Or do we do something now? Something should have been done a long time ago, but nothing was done. Instead, we give them money, we support them, and we allow them to develop weapons. We allow that to happen because people do not see the dangers of jihadism, of radicalism, does not see the intent to take over the world by any means that's possible. They believe when what they say peace, their peace comes by every single solitary individual in the world to submit to Islam. That is what they call peace. Now, as a Christian, we want every single solitary person to become a Christian, but we're not going to chop somebody's head off if they don't agree. We're not going to kill them if they don't agree. That is their choice. We allow the choice. Islam will not give you that choice. Already in Iran, many people have been killed. And I question, and again, I'm trying to be biblical based. I know this is not real deep biblically, but biblically based. Do we really want the cartel and crime to rule? Do we really want terrorism to rule? But yet, if we try to do something about it, people get all up in arms and angry. It's not going to go away on its own. Now, best way is to win everybody to Jesus. But again, we're so secular. Even Christians today are so wrapped up in the world. And what I'm talking about is, and I hope I can put this in proper words. Paul talked about, all things are lawful, but not everything's beneficial. If we desire for our prayers to be answered, if we desired for the spiritual things to manifest in our lives, we must become more spiritually based. If we are more carnal, fleshly based, we will try to bring things about through carnal or physical methods rather than having things be birthed through the spiritual. I hope that it is explained well enough. My mind's not really able to project what I want to project about it. The more we become a spiritual based person, the more we become spiritually minded, the more that we obey Jesus Christ, and the more that we walk in the Spirit, the more access that we have to the spiritual things and bring the spiritual things into the material world. But if we live our lives based on what pleases us in the material world and focus our mind on things, on our pleasure and on entertainment and on things in the physical world, we lose much of that connection to bring forth from the spiritual into the physical. The physical alone won't work. We can't dabble in Jesus and expect mighty things to happen. I hope I got that across properly. So, again, I wanted to bring forth what was really going on over there. This is not like normal wars. What do we do? This Iran may be the head is destroyed that gets brought back. If the Antichrist kingdom is coming soon, that could very well be. Again, we don't know whether it's now or 50 years from now. But somehow all this is working towards the formation of the Antichrist kingdom. So when we allow Islam into our society and they do not want to correlate with us, they want to dominate, we're in trouble. Now, here's a thought that I have. It may or may not be right. Back when our forefathers developed their country, and we have freedom of religion, or that's basically what it's called. I wonder if their intent was freedom of religion meant freedom to worship Satan and freedom for Allah. Allah is not our God. I don't know that was their intentions, because they was oppressed by the church in England, etc. And I believe they meant, this is my thinking, they meant the freedom of religion, freedom to worship the Father, Jehovah God, or Yahweh God, how you feel to. Not to worship Satan, not to worship Allah, not to do all these things. Because I don't think they foresaw all that. But that's my take on this. So, what we need to do, we need to pray. We need to seek God. We need to pray for our leaders. Whoever's in charge isn't going to do everything right. They need spiritual guidance. So we need to pray for them. And again, I've said this before, politics will not solve the problem. But if we have a leader that is led by God, that would help us tremendously. And we, as a country, need to let Jehovah God or Yahweh God be our Father and our leader of our nation. For when He is not, we will fall into serious problems. And when we stop helping Israel, we can fall into serious problems. So, I don't know the outcome of what's going on over there. I don't know how long the United States will stand, and maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe it'll stand strong, and we just don't want to help one these days. I don't know. I just don't see where we're apart in the book of Revelation. I just see a rising of the Antichrist nation who's going to have influence over the world and going to bring chaos and terror. So we may be putting a lid on it somewhat now, for now, and kicking the can down the road. But we need to serve Jesus no matter what, whatever the situation is. And I feel like I'm starting to ramble, so I probably ought to wind this down. I hope I said something that made some sense. So keep praying, keep believing, serve Jesus. Forget about the world or the things in the world, because this is only temporary. The kingdom of God is what matters, and living with Him. His word abides forever. So, thank you, and I hope you have a good day and a good weekend.